Hey guys, Kyle here with the Mortgage Celebrity Studio. I'm here with Kelly Houston of the Choice Realty Group. It's been a long time coming. I've been begging her to come on for quite some time, and she finally came. So thank you for coming.
Of course.
I wanted to have you in here because, first and foremost, you are my real estate agent. I used you to buy a house about, I guess it was 8 months ago at this time.
I should know that.
And it was 3 years in the making. So as of right now, the market today is still pretty tough as a buyer to buy a house, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say to you even personally, like, it's a good thing that we found something last year because it seemed to get a little bit slower over the winter, which maybe it does. And I always try to push buyers to actually look then too. But just in the last couple months, it's just getting a little bit crazy again.
So you're having a lot more buyers still and a lot less sellers.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
I mean, buyers that are even first-time home buyers and people that just want to, I have people that their lease doesn't end until February and they're like, hey, I wanted to start now.
I mean, you
So,
kind of have to be
to get
ready.
that head start.
Yeah. And I think the tough part for first-time home buyers is they just don't have the funds. You know, you want them to throw the 20% at it. You want them to make that offer as strong as possible. But there's other ways that we can make the offers strong.
Yeah.
And I think you did a good job at that for me. What other ways do you think right now in today's market that you're using to help make the offer strong?
So I do try to sit down with buyers ahead of time too, especially more lately to give them that advice from the beginning so they know what they're going into. And I tell them it's not always about price. A year or so ago, I won a house. We were $30,000 under another offer and still won the house then too. So that's the first thing is it's not always about price. So, I mean, down payment helps. I have first-time home buyers that are putting bigger down payments, than maybe some second-time buyers or so too. And maybe those funds are coming from selling their house. So there's just so many factors into it that I break down everybody's situation for themselves. And we have a list that we go through and we have three different topics, I say, like things that, will make it easier for a seller. Anybody can do that, right? So do we guarantee them we'll do things quicker? Do we close quicker on an empty house? An empty house always wants to close quicker. But a lot of sellers need time to find something. So can we be flexible instead? So can we give them extra time? We have a couple sellers that are staying after closing, even just to give them like a couple extra weeks of moving into a new home or fixing it or finding somewhere to stay. So, I mean, I have one right now, the seller's getting a rent back then too, and he's willing to rent it if the buyer is willing to give him time to find something then too. So,
and just for those who don't know, what is a rent back?
So that's allowing the seller to stay in the house after closing. So sometimes people will let them stay at no cost, or even maybe the seller would actually be willing to pay rent. The one benefit as a buyer then too is your mortgage, which you would know then too, doesn't start until at least over a month later. So I always say you're getting like a free month off.
Yep.
So it's really not costing them anything for that first month to let the seller stay. And you're not even paying your mortgage just yet too. But that's always a good thing a lot of people don't know is that your mortgage doesn't start right away.
Yep.
So those are just like the easier things, just being, quick, like even just offering any kind of timeline, just do it quicker. You're just giving that seller reassurance that you're on top of it. And then also I work with a lot of estate sales then too, or even if my buyers are making an offer on an estate sale, I always tell them whatever you can do to make them feel like it's easier. Like if there's leftover furniture, maybe you want the dining table, but you don't want the extra bed frame or the dresser. Just take any of it and say, I'll sell or get rid of what I don't want. Do you get what you do want? And does it at least give them that easier reassurance that they have one less thing to worry about?
I love that you're talking about the things to make this seller's life easier because a lot of times when we talk about winning an offer, it's always like more, put more towards the purchase price over the contract, more money down, offer to pay their closing costs. It's always more money out of the person's pocket, but it's really an emotional transaction. And like, what can we do to make them feel more comfortable?
Yeah. And these are the things that don't cost extra, right? So at least if we're taking the time to figure out those things, like what's important, quicker, slower, easier, those things don't necessarily cost anything. So that's always like the first step that anybody can do.
And I think, when an agent calls the listing agent, the conversation, if you have the experience that you do,
Right.
it's not just like, so what are the offer? What are the
Right.
amounts? It's no, what does your seller want?
Right.
And that's a key part of it. I never really think about that on the mortgage side of things. I'm always calling being like, they're qualified,
Right.
but you do all the stuff in the background. That might be a little bit of the secret sauce that you have.
Well, I
But
think that's where, even as a listing agent, so I just had 15 offers on one house, but I
wow.
probably only talked to a handful of the agents. So others will send it, but they don't call, they don't ask, they just throw something out there. So if they're not figuring out what's important, then too, or like building that relationship, I always say I want other agents, to want to work with me, not just be, you're not difficult, but respect me at the same time too.
Yes.
So, you're not a pushover, that you're going to get it done. And I mean, offers have happened because then we're having that relationship, or we're having those discussions with the other agent, even if I'm on the buying side, and the agents can relay that reassurance to their clients. Like, I've worked with Kelly, she'll get it done.
Yeah. And I
So,
think, for lack of a better term, being
hmm
pesky,
hmm
I think when we put the offer in the house that I have now,
yeah.
you talk to them 2-3 times a day. And it was just like, I just talked to him again, still waiting on one more, but you were on
Yeah.
top of it.
So that's what I always say. You don't want to be annoying. It's finding that fine balance of like
Yes.
being annoying but following up. So I hate to be the first offer, because then now they have that to say to
Burden,
other
yeah.
people, hey, we have a strong offer. So it's finding that balance of when to send it,
Mm-hmm.
but also even just walking in here. This morning, I'm following up on 2 other offers. So, where do we stand? Are we in the top 2? Is there something different that we should do? If we change this or change that. So if you're not having that communication, you're just throwing something out there and seeing if it sticks. Where, yes, I feel like that's our starting line. And I say, let's start here and then let's see where we stand. And I mean, some people will communicate more or less, and they're just like, whatever it is, send it. But a lot of agents are open to giving you the suggestions because they want, the best for their client then too.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, and that's part of the reason, when I moved up here and I had a friend who knew of you. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for a top real estate agent because
Mm-hmm.
I know that somebody who this is their profession.
Right.
That's what I look for, somebody who's doing this, maybe not full time, but
Mm-hmm.
somebody who identifies as a real estate agent.
Yeah.
That was number one. Number two, had a great reputation, and you filled both of those shoes. And then we worked together for 3 years until we found something. And sometimes it takes that. I mean, I was picky, but I didn't have you go see every house every weekend,
Right.
I knew kind of what I wanted. So it was like 6 months in between showings sometimes,
Yeah.
and then sometimes it was, in the beginning it was a little bit more than that until we figured out. But my point is, it's very important who you pick as your real estate agent. And we know a lot of real estate agents, all of us, our friends, our family. But I just always like to emphasize the point is, make sure it's the consummate professional. There's a lot of times when you can get somebody who is a real estate agent, just like any other job. There's good people that do it, and there's bad people that do it. So what made you, going back, what made you get started in real estate? How did you get started? What was your origin story?
Yeah. So I started 15 years ago.
Okay.
So I went to college. I went to Temple for architecture, and I took my real estate classes at Temple. So at the time, it was just something maybe that I thought I would do on the side, or buying properties or building properties. But as soon as I graduated, I found an admin position at the real estate office, so on a team. So I've done every job essentially on the team. So I think that helps me in terms of managing our team then too, that I've done the contracts, I've done the photos, I've done the closings, I've done the marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I've done down to the mail. So, I've gone through all of those steps. So I think it gives me a better understanding then too, before I even got my real estate license, is that I handled everything on the back end. So I think that helps me with our admin staff now, our marketing now then too, is I really understand that back end of the process on top of just the clients. So so I think it was like 5 years in. I mean, we had a larger team then too. I got my real estate license because, I mean, even like you came then too, I had a lot of referrals. So I started with just the people I knew, and then helping with training the agents, managing the agents then too. And it kind of grew from there. So once I was able to start speaking to more clients, speaking to leads.
14 years in, when you said marketing,
Yeah.
I get something in the mail from you every other week, every
Yep.
month, which is nice. It's not like overdone.
Right.
But it's always an event. It's always you always have something going on. So something I know about you that I love, that I'd like to get more involved in. But as we've spoken about it, I'm afraid to. But you have kind of a passion project outside of real estate.
Yep.
Can you share with us what's going on and with your love for animals?
Yeah. So I
Puppies?
foster dogs. I've done that for probably 15 years or so now too. And I mean, right now our dogs were a bit older, so I stepped back. I just help instead, but I've worked with a few different rescue groups. So mostly out of the city, like Philadelphia, New York. We get a lot of pit bulls out of the cities, but a lot of other dogs too. And then we get a lot of labs from down south. So they bring up dogs from Georgia, South Carolina, or anything then too. So there's a local rescue group that we work with too, Freedom First Rescue. So this Sunday, like you said, we have events. So we kind of partner our real estate client events with the rescue group. So when I used to think about like, well, what do I do as a client event? Of course, it just came to mind and it clicked. And, that's why we do Pups and Pints.
Yeah.
So we do it at different breweries or wineries then too. So we partner with the rescue groups. We have raffles. Anything that we sell, goes straight to the rescue group. So it kind of ties together fostering dogs. Usually we'll have one or two at a time. So because puppies need another dog to play with.
Yes.
So I mean we've had I think 35 fosters at least.
Wow.
And we only kept one.
How many events do you think you've had with?
We've done Pups and Pints for at least 4 years now.
Okay.
So I think this is our at least fourth year.
And you also do the trunk or treat.
So we do the trunk or treat in the fall.
Yeah.
So we're trying to turn it into Fall Fest, so it's not just kid oriented. Try to add to it a little bit more than two.
Idea.
So we have the trunk or treat and Fall Fest, and in this last year, like normally we would do it in a parking lot, like anybody does their trunk or treats.
Mm-hmm.
And part of what we also do is just partnering with local businesses. So in the fall, one of those local businesses was the corn mazes. So we just try to tie our real estate themes into our local businesses. So instead, anybody gets mailers in the mail, but at least like do ours have something extra that's worth keeping.
Yeah.
So we've done, it's buy one, get one free at the corn maze.
Yep.
So we're advertising at least a local business, something that they maybe are already doing or trying to put out there. And we're giving them that extra free advertising to essentially our database. So, I mean, we're sending out emails to over at least 10,000 people that are in our database overall from either past clients or people we haven't even spoken to yet. And then we do mail to at least our past clients and, our homeowners or recent clients then too. So our Fall Fest is now, for the first year, we did it at the corn maze instead.
Yeah.
So we kind of tied that together. Like, how do we, we're always thinking, how do we level it up? So
I like, not only that, like there's always an event that you put on, but it always seems like your social media, you're doing something, everything that you guys do, it's like you're always active. It's never like a day off, which maybe to a fault,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you do need to take a day off, but I do love that there's always something going on. And I know this, that you have your team meeting. So I've worked with a couple other real estate teams and different leadership styles between different people, right? And your leadership style is very hands-on if I had to be, an outside looking in person, but I think you guys do, is it every Monday or?
So we do, as a team, we do a monthly team meeting.
Okay.
So, and I get my own real estate coaching at the same time too. And the goal is that you're walking away from either a meeting or one-on-one meeting or training, like something you can actually implement to either help clients or do it better than too, right? So how can I put something in place that's going to help me actually sell a house or help somebody? So we do our monthly team meeting. We do a weekly training. And right now, like we're breaking down appointment processes, like before, right before, during, after. So how do we do it better? So it's not your basic trainings or anything then too. So when we break it down into something that the agents don't just listen to, but then they can implement over time. So that's why we started doing it weekly as well, because it also wasn't enough time spent to help them actually implement things. And then every other week I do one-on-one meetings with the agents. So that's also like more time to give them that specific like one-on-one suggestions. Like where are they at? And everybody's at a different level and everybody has different goals. So it's more geared towards what can we do to help them and that person. So I was just speaking to an agent, for example, and she was meeting with team leaders or two, and he was just saying, well, what happened to this client and what happened to that, and you've got to do better, right? Like that's not a suggestion, like that's
No.
not one-on-one, that's not coaching, right? Like I'm not there to micromanage them. I don't look at every individual client and say like what happened. They're coming to me with how can I do
Yeah.
this or better work through this situation, but instead we're spending more time on how do I help the agents level up instead. So, I mean, one of my agents, she worked through, I want to be able to convert better. Like, I want to spend time, like, I want to have better conversations, and help, convert like the appointments and the offers and such too. And she focused on that in the last year. And I mean, she's already closed as many this year than she did all of last year.
Wow.
So, it's how do we help them level up,
Yeah.
and not just, it's not about accountability in the sense of where people think that's micromanaging. It's accountability in, how do I help you push yourself to the goal you set for yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I could see a difference
Mm-hmm.
in the way your team operates versus a lot of other teams.
Mm-hmm.
We won't call anybody out, but it really does feel like a good experience, in using you. This is a transaction. That's what
Right.
it is. Let's
Mm-hmm.
not hide behind it. We're here to earn a living for our families,
Right.
but ultimately, if you help enough people get what they want,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll get what you want. And if you do it the right way, then it's a pleasant experience for everybody involved.
Right.
You touch base with me as your client maybe 6 to 12 times a year, depending on, you drop me off something for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I get a letter, in the beginning of the year about an event.
Yeah.
You have Pups and Pints. We have Trunk or Treat.
Yeah.
It's a really good system that you have,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like you're creating this new, way of talking to people. You're just, reaching out to them. Hey, we had
Mm-hmm.
this thing going on. Come see us.
Yeah.
Hey, here's an ornament. We really enjoyed working with you this year. I hope
Mm-hmm.
you like your new house. I just love that. It's there's people who just give the closing gift at closing,
Mm-hmm.
and you do that as well, and we enjoyed that. But it's the follow up, and I think you as a team lead, the follow up that you have with your team is going to help your team, grow, and as you've seen. But the follow up that you have with your clients, I think, is probably the most important aspect that most people forget about.
Yeah, and the biggest part is how do you keep up with it when you're busy, right? Because everybody's
Yeah.
focused on current clients then too. And I think it's having that balance of the both, right? So, I mean, half of my business comes from referrals. The other half is essentially because either they're finding us online, then too, whether it's listings or now it's ChatGPT. So people find me on ChatGPT.
Really?
Last night got a listing from ChatGPT.
So what is the prompt that they ask ChatGPT?
Find the best realtor in this area, or who's the top realtor, then too. So
Kelly Houston's number one.
So I mean, that's where the videos and social media and everything online helps then too. But that's where it's doing such a good job that you are memorable for doing the good job, and then also that they don't forget about you over time too. And I mean, I won't take credit for our local business connections. That was one of our team members. Lisa mentioned one time, like, I want to include this ice cream shop in the summer. So we did that one time. There was buy one, get one free ice cream. And, the slogan was get the inside scoop on real estate.
Yep.
So that's our one summer thing. So once we did that, our Christmas card is always, it became a drink recipe. So how do you find a Christmas drink recipe then too? And that became a discount at the winery to go with the Christmas card drink recipe then too. And, once you kind of take the time to build it up, now we've got our plan, we've got our marketing plan, we've got the system built down. So that makes it like one less thing to have to think through. Now it's just like finding the different businesses, to do it a little bit different each year, or a different place to have the event or so. And the biggest part is eliminating like having to think or worry about it, because it's very hard to sell a lot of houses if you think you're doing everything yourself then too. So we have a full-time marketing assistant on top of our listing coordinator and our transaction coordinator then too. Now it's like a full-time person focused on marketing. And then we also have our full-time photographer and videographer in-house.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives us the ability to do all of those extras then too. And it's not something that the agents really, have to think about or implement or send out or anything. It's made for them. It's customized towards them with their pictures on it then too. Because everybody always thinks it's the team and like marketing the team. And we try to take it one step further because, like you said, it's the relationships that they're building up with their clients.
Yeah.
They don't really know or think of like the team name or the office. They're thinking about, so and so that sold me the house, or so and so that's sending, this or that, right?
Yeah.
So I've always thought, how do I make it easier? How do I make it more efficient, or so too? So I think that's also coming from the marketing and admin background. Like that was my job. Like
Yeah.
it was my job. And the way I was trained, nobody really told me how to do it. It's just something I always thought through, like, how do I make this easier? How do we implement this, not just for one person, but for 100? And how do we do this for 1,000 people, right? So that's the difference in like scaling it at the same time too, whether it's scaling how we can help the clients, but also helping like the agents themselves scale their business, is that they don't have to worry about that back end or those extras, or, what are we going to send out? That marketing plan is laid out for them for the whole year. At the beginning of the year, we do business planning. We have the marketing plan and they can sit and choose, and they have it laid out, like, what do I want sent for me? And it's done. So whether it's the birthdays, the home anniversaries, the invitations, those marketing plans, it's sent for them then.
You don't, it's a plug and play. I mean, if somebody comes and joins your team, they're going to learn from the best. And you were on a team at one point, so I can see why you want to build something where you're allowing the person underneath of you to grow to possibly have their own team, and that's probably inevitable at some point that some people are going to leave you, go do their own thing, make their own team, and then you've kind of given them the blueprint for how to be successful. But you're probably going to be more proud of that than if they stay under you forever,
I've trained a lot of agents then too. So when I was on the team at the time, the person I've worked with he's retired essentially now then too. And I trained a lot of agents, and that's where you said at the beginning, everybody knows a realtor. I know the most, like my sphere knows the most. I've trained them. Yeah. And then there's the difference of, you've trained people, they kind of have that blueprint, but at the same time, how many people like implement it though and can take it on? So I don't think of it as just, sales or, just relationships overall. Like it's a business. And if you think about it as a business as a whole, like having an office and admin staff and that whole, plan is set up then too, as I think of it more as a business in the sense of how we operate it. So like we are running a team as essentially a small business at the office then too. So, I'm definitely proud of, everybody that I've taught. And the biggest part is you have to create a world big enough for them to fit like their goals inside of it too. And there's definitely a learning curve essentially to having a team. And I think like who I've worked with and even starting and helping with that, there was that learning curve in that. But I think we've worked through that, like how to best fit, the agent's goals inside of a team as well. So they don't feel like just team members anymore. And that's why it's not the Kelly Houston team. And that's where legally, it's supposed to be or so. And the name is there. It's in small print. It's at the end. It's
I never realized that. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So I don't, because I wanted the agents to feel like it's theirs. So I've been on a team where it's so-and-so's team. And the first thing people will do is be like, well, I want to talk to that person. Right. So, when we thought of the team name as Choice Realty Group, I wanted people to feel ownership over it then and want to wear the shirts and advertise it and have that slogan.
Because they don't want to wear your name.
Right. So, yeah. But as a team, like with Choice Realty Group, like, and I also thought through, like, what's the key word that ties it all together? So, of course, you want to be the realtor of choice for people, but also the job is a choice. So, we are, I think, as a team, really on the same page of you want to surround yourself with people that you want to work with. Mm-hmm. And in the word Choice Realty Group is, I say you have to wake up and you have to choose this. Like you have to choose to be a salesperson, like in, day out. Like you have to want this. Like you have to choose to do it full time. Like you have to choose to be committed towards it. And those are the team members that we want essentially. And those are the people that we want to surround ourselves by. So
I had no idea. That's a great story behind the team name. It's true because as salespeople, I always say you got to burn your boats, you know, and it's just, there is no other option. It's either this or nothing.
Right.
And, but that is such a cool team name for that reason. Well, yeah, I think this has been a good conversation. I probably could talk to you forever. I talk to you a lot anyway. So I'm glad you finally came in, and I hope to do this again.
Maybe
with
we could
you.
do it again.
Yeah, and your team is welcome in here as well. I'd love to hear their experience being under someone like you, because again, from an outsider's perspective, I'm not just blowing smoke. It seems like everyone does really have fun. I mean, the full-time photographer that you have, how big of an upgrade, how big of like, that was like probably a big step, but it's probably been one of the best things you ever did.
It has. So essentially, I mean, I was seeing a lot of people were starting to do video, and we started to do it ourselves then too. And I was trying to make videos. But then again, it circled back to how much can I take on and where should my focus be?
Yeah.
You know, where I'm out trying to make a video or upload it in between appointments. It just wasn't functional.
And you figure out like you don't even know the quality, like what kind of camera do I need? Yeah.
Right. Like quality in here is great.
Yeah.
So, and a year ago, it was spring market, and we have listings coming on, and he told me his availability was like 2 weeks out. And I was like, this doesn't work. I'm like, we need in-house. Like this, I feel like we're at the point, we're ready that like we need an in-house photographer, which gave us the ability to add on video then too more. And the timing was, he was at the point when I brought it up, he was about to kind of just take on a job. And I was like, well, what does it take for me to just hire you full time? So, and I mean, we were already paying him like the volume for listing photos or anything too. But now it kind of got us the ability to add on more, and adding on the 3D tours and the videos for each house then too. And, but not just videos, but like the opportunity for the agents to speak, and then you make that bigger impact. You know, you show up online more. You are showing up on AI essentially, but also the people that know you or they're looking you up are seeing that you're doing more for your clients then too. So, I mean, I had a listing come on. You guys both saw the video already today. And I mean, immediately my client texted me. She's like, I didn't even realize that you were going to be in the video then too. And, you know, it's amazing and it's great. And it's just that extra level of like providing for the sellers though too, that the more you're doing for them, the more that they're going to stand out, and the better the listing, you know, looks, the better it sells for. So then too. But
yeah, I love that. Yeah, I'd really love to have one of your team members on just to see how their experience is.
Think of a couple. Good.
Yeah. Just because, you know, I want to hear, I've heard plenty of other experiences, not on here yet, but, you know, I'd like to hear more about it, because it's hard when you come up and you're in sales. It is about who your leader is and who your role model is and who the person who takes you under your wing. When I first got started in the industry, I had somebody who really, you know, kind of took me under their wing, and the company was great and they provided all this stuff. And then when I went to the next company, none of that was there. So it made me realize that the next time I find that company, which is where I'm at now, that's going to provide everything that I need to be successful, to, you know, the support system. If I ask, hey, we need this, then it gets done. You know, that's something you need to cherish. I'd be curious to hear from them to see if they feel that same way, because it looks like they do.
Hopefully. I mean, that's where essentially, like you said, being a team member, but being an admin, being an agent, I get that inside look, and it's like, well, how would I operate? Essentially, you know, what can I do to help them do that at the same time too? So like you said, plug and play, like what's easily available, like what leverage do people need to kind of stay in what they enjoy doing? Like where do they get to stay with their focus? Like how can they spend more time speaking to the clients and not handling something on the back end? Or creating things from scratch, or, you know, how am I going to market myself? So they don't have to wake up and wonder like, well, where are my clients or leads going to come from then too?
Yeah.
And how am I going to market myself? So
it's almost like you're an architect that built this whole thing from the ground up. Well, Kelly, thanks for coming on. Next time, I do want to talk more about strategies and more business stuff. I wanted to find out more about you, but what do you have going on? Can you tell us where people can find you?
Find me. Well, hopefully on ChatGPT,
yes.
But on Facebook or social media, you can always find me, Choice Realty Group, then too. So at least you can follow along, see our listing videos, see our event videos. So we have our client event coming up this Sunday. So we try to share at least what we're doing, even along the way, what trainings we're having and such too.
And does somebody need to be a past client in order to come to one of your client events?
So no, I mean, anybody is welcome to come. Of course, then, I mean, we try to say anybody that's a past client sends us a referral or such too, or your drinks are on us. So, but I mean, essentially we do share it out there on social media for anybody to come and at least just even see the rescue group then too. You might even leave with a dog.
Yeah. Well, you can't leave with a dog, but maybe you can. Well, thanks, Kelly. I appreciate you being on. And yeah, this is the Mortgage Celebrity Studio, and we'll see you next time, guys. Thank you.